Project Elite, education, learning, implementation, training, execution. 4. ABC of Cream rating, making corporate management a child's play.
There are 5 principles that form the conceptualization of the book: corporate citizenship and sustainability. The last one, principle number 5, is emergent property phenomenon. This is very well described by Nobel laureate Jayaraman. There are 3 underlying principles under this emergent property phenomenon. Number 1, conformability of nature to herself, quoting Isaac Newton, is something amazing, really amazing, really amazing. You've got to go through that. The entire universe where the whole even solar system is not even a speck, not even a dot. Corporate and the government are the only one that do not follow this principle, conforming themselves or nature to herself. It is so totally contrary. That's why the corporate and the government have put themselves into not 1 or 2 knots, the knots which you are not in a position to untie it, is million times more difficult than that of the Gordian's knot. Hence, what I have been introduced in this book is corporate atomic structure. That is one. The second principle, Jayaraman says, is applicability of simplicity. What has been brought under this book, it is very difficult for any other principles to bring that sort of a simplicity. The n-dimensional functions are converted to n functions of a single dimension with a common denominator. That is 2. Number 3, Jayaraman says, unreasonable effectiveness. The unreasonable effectiveness is the art of resolving a paradox with the least number of calculations. You've got to see the opposite values that are being analyzed in this book. So with these 3 principles is a summary of the first 4 principles of the book. So let us go further onto this, how it could be, knowledge could be passed on to you. Elite is for the elite people anyway, when you come to know the cream rating. It is made up of a creative process and action process. In creative process, you have education, learning, and implementation. In the action process, you have training and execution. In the creative process, when we say education, education is for all. In my previous talk, I was mentioning about in 1 trillion Indian economy, as a sample, there will be 13 million farmers who are being assessed, and there will be 13 million ratings. I also said, if in a company there are about 500,000 workforce, there will be 500,000 ratings. You remove the disparity between the highest paid and the lowest paid salary. Okay? Then you have a common factor between the two, which is ethical responsibility. And both or all remain in the same platform. In fact, a janitor would be better off in his ethical responsibility than even a CEO. It's a fact that we have seen so far. And compare that with 13 million farmers who also are looked into their ethical responsibility. They are certainly superior. The farmers, the corporate citizen, yet to catch up with that of a farmer. This again is a fact of life that we have seen so far. When we do that measurement, it's imperative that education is being imparted for all. That's what I'm trying to convey. So education is for all, not to exclude some people because they are not of that cadre. Only those in the elite people would be, or coming from the big schools, are being given that education. Education is for all. Of course, education has to be given to the big schools also, which is a separate one. Each will be assessed according to the cream rating. 2. The learning. The learning part of it, the learning materials are needed. These learning materials for this purpose of Project Elite is available from the book Corporate Citizenship and Responsibility, Measuring Intangible, Fiscal and Ethical Assets. You have a complete information available of 170 process block containing every conceivable open-ended process block. If you find something which is not there in 170, add one more. Okay, no problem. Now, implementation part of it, that is for learning. Implementation part of it is the strategy plan. To implement a project, you got to have a plan ready, which starts from the zero stage out of nothingness and then gets into a total of 6 stages of development to a tangible strategy plan, which could be 2024, 2025 or 21-24 also. Is a different matter. When you do that, there are 2 factors which you look into: CAGR and CARR. CAGR is adding values, constructing values. CARR is deconstructing what is valueless. That is the purpose. When we do that, we have a proper strategy plan available to be handed over for action process. The action process is training. The most important training that we have to impart to whomsoever is going to act upon this strategy plan is number 1, knowing E equal to MC square, and MC square is the one which produces data after data. The corporate confines themselves with this explosion of data. When you go further to the industry sector, to various state governments and central government, to FAO, to World Bank, to OECD, to IMF, data is lost. In every step that goes further, data is lost. The training ought to be given is in terms of when 13 million farmers have produced certain things. When we produce the statistics from bottom to the top, the $401 billion which is now sitting with as 2017 should be traced back to the individual statistics of produce. Same case with a company. This is the most important training that we got to develop to make it very clear about it. Then the question of execution comes. We got to execute what has been set in the strategy plan. The execution, I'll give an example. 2. 1 is table 7.1, index of inactivity of by process area. The process area is 117, which had been tried for the last about several years as per the table given in terms of CRIM ratings, corporate governance, risk management, earnings, accounting quality and management quality. These are possible to develop within a company even now. It is not impossible. But what you have to do, what we find ourselves missing, tracing back of a $401 billion statistics to individual farmers' produce is 7.2. The 7.2 table gives index of inactivity by resource area. Know it. The resource areas that you have is only one, which is pulsating energy, which there only with the people. That is the third law. When matter and antimatter collide, it forms a pure energy. What we are stuck up is by the second law. Matter is energy not yet exploded, waiting to happen. And this is the one which is very crucial. When you go back to CAGR and CARR, even if you had brought about, say, 15% change in the last about 10 years, and you have got only about 3% or 4% or 5% or 0%, you have something to think upon it. And that is where we got to put that, the second 7.2, table 7.2 by process area. That you have to link. If you see 7.1 and 7.2, the total number is agreeing with each. There's a matrix which by energy area or resource area or by the process area. This matrices have to be developed for every company.
ABC of cream ratings. Project Elite.
A for audit firms, B for banking, and C for the respective company that it deals with. Today, each one separately cannot be identified. We got to create a cream rating of a particular company, how the audit firms are being rated along with, and as well as the banker. And these three combined are going to make a lot of difference. A lot of explanation and I have given in my book to my fellow chartered accountants, my accounting profession colleagues from 1973 to as on today. Please go through the book. And audit firms, not that McKinsey or Bain company are being pulled up for any of the wrongdoings of their consulting work. But it's not the case with the audit firms. They also have a good consulting section. But these four big firms, KPMG and Deloitte and PwC, and they're all being pulled up in the courts of law because of their auditing part of it. It's a conflict of interest, it looks like. Either they can drop their audit and focus on the consulting work, which will make the 300,000 different chartered accountants available in India to focus on the auditing part of it. It's a big profession. It's a profession with an amazing number of ethical, responsible people. You won't be able to find other than this audit profession, exception being the Indian Army. So it will do a lot of good for these big four firms leaving the audit profession. Nothing wrong with that. I've also dealt with various time factor, 73 to 95 to 98 to today. The companies had how the companies had taken over their balance sheet representation. I wonder, being in this profession, what is the need for a statutory auditor? Question yourself. will be relieved of all that botheration. If I have to invest in Ireland FS today, it is my headache. If I had invested in Ireland FS yesterday, based on what the audit report had come about, who were to blame about it? So think about it. If you have to drop it, drop it. If you want to improve it, I have put that provision in there. So banker, so many extraordinary NCLT has been approached. I mean, millions and billions of dollars have gone for. I mean, it's amazing. These companies have gone down the drain. Not a single banker have been involved with it. We have seen Yes Bank, we have seen ICA Bank, we have seen the banks where we know particularly who the person is. They come out. It is the industry which is greatly affected. Three big development institutions we had: IDBI, ICCI, and IFI. All have gone. With the result, the development institutions, financial institutions have literally disappeared. And we are left with these banks. Again, the private equity players, it looks like they have a lot of money for M&A. They have to necessarily get involved in this cream rating. Number one, for themselves. Number two, for the company that they are associated with. If you invested in $100 billion, about $500 billion, today we see Iyer, for example, and various companies which they invest and turn out to be sold later. This book is proactive. CAGR is brought to CDGR, tracking the development on a daily basis of the action being undertaken by each person within each company is being tracked. If you are going to complete the M&A of billions of dollars without the knowledge of the cream rating, which contains the qualitative elements of management, in M&A, two different companies get merged with a totally different attitude towards qualitative factors. You've got to have the cream rating done before and continuously for this. This is my request. When you go for a ABC, means every supplier is having a cream rating. It has got a cascading effect. Every major distributor having a cream rating. Generally, a particular company get state benefit in India. Every person, if 13 million farmers could be rated, each and every employee of the bank has to be rated for the qualitative elements of management. We cannot afford to have the banks like this. We cannot afford to have the audit firms like this. If these two are being corrected and they are unwilling to get corrected, they are unwilling partners in any futuristic policy statement. They just like I think they don't have people who are willing to take the pains of promoting the ethical responsibility. And mind you, these are the two fellows, audit firms and the banking, who should be on the top of the ethical responsibility. When they fail, corporate are bound to fail. It is in the interest of the corporate to get associated with companies with the highest rating. And this is crucial for learning. If you want to learn, I am here to teach you. If you don't want to learn, I have also indicated, just by the book, I have indicated a thing called Plato's Cave. Please read only one chapter. Good enough. Be where you are. No issues. Thank you.
Please see description for details of presentations and availability of book for sale. Based on the book Different Concepts 1. The New Global Brand Name, Corporate Citizen. 2. Blueprint for $1 Trillion Indian Agri-Economy were presented. Project Elite is a step towards corporate civilization.